Right, you're watching TVC Breakfast. Let's get to our next discussion now. Recent developments across Nigeria, the country, indicates that Nigeria is gradually losing societal values that was held dearly. This is evident in the worsening crime rate, number of reported rape cases that we hear on daily basis, cyber fraud, corruption, among others, and so on across the country. Now, a major concern for society is incest in the homes. This is a human sexual activity between family members or blood relatives, and it is the most widespread of all cultural taboos, both in present and past societies. Social media and technology has made more Nigerians aware, as the internet is awash with news and reports of incestuous stories. A pattern, may say, if not checked, could become a troubling trend in the society. This is what we'll be talking about next. So we'll be talking about what leads to all of these, what impacts, what are the trends, and so on. We have joining us as a consultant family physician, author, and child advocate, Dr. Nimi Ekere. It's nice to have you join me this morning.
Thank you for having me again.
Great, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Great. Now, when we talk about incest, people may have misconception around what incest is. I would like you to break it down for us to understand basically what incest is and what it is not. So that when we are talking and putting things in context, everybody understands what the issues are.
Thank you. So incest is was derived from the Latin word incestus, which means impure and unchaste. So from the name, we know that it's wrong. It doesn't, it's more like a taboo. So incest is a sexual relationship or activity involving family members or close relations. So a lot of people will say, what do you mean by family members or blood relations or close relations? When people are related by blood, as in when they're in a consanguineous relationship, mother, father, they are related. When people are related by affinity, as you have in marriage, step families, blended families, they are related. When people are related by adoption, there's no way they should be in a relationship that's sexual. And then when people are related by lineage, I mean, for some countries, if apart from the consanguineous relationship, they're not too strict with what with other kinds of relationship. But here in Africa and Nigeria specifically, it's when you're related by any of these means or factors, you are related, and you shouldn't be in a blood relationship. You shouldn't be in a sexual relationship.
All right. So since it differs from one culture to another and from one country to another, what it means, what may be incest in one country or society may not be in another one. Well, for instance, there are some culture that
you can marry your cousins.
You can marry your cousins, exactly, and it's acceptable, it's normal. Yeah. But in other societies or cultures, it's a taboo.
Yes.
So how do we qualify that?
You go by what's is accepted in your culture. And I also like to mention that medically, there are complications when you when you're involved in relationships that are sexual with people that are very close to you. There's a condition called inbreeding, where the offspring of the parents that are related, or parents that are related, give birth to children that are genetically problematic. For example, what you term imbecility is very common amongst people in incestuous relationships.
All right, we've seen,
and then we have types. Of incest.
Oh, really?
Yes.
There are types of it.
Yeah.
Please let us know what that is.
Yes. So
because we just like you had defined it earlier. We just fine.
Father,
relatives,
relatives.
Exactly. Yes. The moment you have any kind of relationship that kind of relationship with a family member. That's what it is.
Incest,
All right.
yes.
So make us understand the types that you.
Yes. So you have the one that occurs between adults and children,
Okay.
and that's very common. That's it's a form of child sexual abuse. It's child incestuous abuse. So in this category, you have the father daughter, which is very common, and then you have the stepfather daughter, which of course we know is really common. And I must say that it's prevalent, but because it's a taboo, people don't want to speak up. So you see that the children or the victims are already suffering the devastating effects, and they've gone through a lot, and then maybe somehow it gets to the public ear. Normally, a lot of people don't talk about it, and then relegation of people, women, mothers to the background, because it will shock you to know that a lot of women, mothers especially, know that this is going on, but they don't, for fear of losing their marriages and all that. So I'll go on to the next one. Mother, son is not common. Son, mother is now common because of ritual purposes, Yahoo, and all that. You see people, I've seen like 2 cases where one killed the mom, and then the other one was trying to.
There was one on that was reported recently. I think about a few weeks ago, about within a month or so, where somebody we heard he had to kill the mom.
Yes, so that's now becoming common. And then the other one is between children, so the sibling to sibling. Most times you see this in broken homes, where especially where there's no father figure, the older sibling wants to assert that authority, wants to manipulate the younger ones and become maybe the father, act like the father figure. And by coercing them, they don't speak, so they do his bid or their bidding. And yes, I've said that it's very common in broken homes and single parent homes. And then the other one is between adults, where you have the consensual and non-consensual. So one is rape, the other one is 2 adults that are in love, like we had in Whitney Houston's daughter, and between Whitney Houston's daughter and the son. They said they were in love, but they were brother and sister, even if the boy was adopted. So with my definition, it's incest.
Yeah. Now, what really causes that kind of a situation where one sees a relative that this is your relative, your cousin, brother, sister, daughter, mother, niece, whatever the thing is, and you could still conceive a kind of a certain attraction towards what is the state? Is it a particular state of mind or or psychological? A
lot of people are mentally sick.
What is responsible for that?
Medically. Some people have mental issues, mental health issues. Some people are depressed, unemployment, idle mind, advent of social media and the internet. People are grooming them and just changing their mindset, so they don't think rationally or logically. So I mean that explains why a man who lost after their child. I've heard a man tell me, he was desperate, he wanted help, he needed help, that he was losing after his daughter. So it's bizarre. Then for ritual purposes, I've talked about unemployment. A lot of people are jobless. We saw it during the COVID period. A lot of people were violating their children because they were just restricted, the lockdown, So yes, and then government's failure to safeguard children. So many reasons. Alcohol and substance abuse. A lot of parents, fathers especially, are hooked on alcohol. Even mothers are not.
This trend, is it increasing gradually, or we are just getting to know of them because we're hearing more reports of them than we used to? I think there's an increase. There's a rise in the prevalence. Yes, like I always say, things are being amplified now because we're in the social media age. People are being aware, but also that culture of silence, people are breaking it. People are demystifying silence, telling advocacies and programs like this. So people are scared, but some of them will still want to speak up, knowing that justice can be served. And then things are getting tougher.
things are getting tougher. So
in the eyes of, we know that when it comes to religion, when it comes to culture, like the word taboo, is very common. But in the eyes of the law, where does this stand?
Oh, it's criminal. It's criminal. For offenders, some of them could go to jail for life. Others could serve 12 years imprisonment. And yes, if they are enforced, it will serve as, if these penalties are enforced, it will serve as deterrent to other people. So the problem is not whether it's criminal. It is criminal, but is it enforced? Are we seeing people pay for their crimes? Are we seeing people serve time when they are prosecuted? So if all hands can be on deck to see that these people do not evade justice, it will go a long way, because that's one factor that keeps enabling this menace.
All right, now share with us basically the impact of, or the effects of a situation of where incest has taken place, because it's like Fela says, double wahala kind of, because the point there is, naturally some kind of relations or relationship is not okay. Then when you're doing it with a relative, in the case of either a father, exactly, like a father and a daughter, or talk to us from there. Basically, what impact or effects do these
it's
have
horrendous
separately?
and heartbreaking, because someone that should have been your confidant, someone that you trust naturally, someone that should protect you, is ironically violating you. So the children have trust issues. I mean, in a lot of times, and or in a lot of cases, they have trust issues, and you see them withdrawn. They have low self-esteem. In fact, their self-esteem is completely obliterated, because a lot of them feel like they're worthless. Like, they caused it. I'm the cause. Maybe there's something evil about me that my dad or my stepdad will pick me. So they feel so bad and worthless, guilty, and they have suicidal ideations. I have seen one take her life. She died. Very beautiful girl in Port Harcourt. Yeah, she died. She was abused by her. Her mother left, and her father kept abusing her, and it happened for a very long time, and she took her life. So it's that bad, especially on children, and even in adulthood. So there's post-traumatic stress disorder. There's, for children, poor academic performance, and it stands to reason. The child doesn't want to go home. The child, it's just a whole lot for them. And there's anxiety disorder, so many issues. So a lot of them can't fit in. And even if they eventually get married, they have issues in their marriages. Some of them are physically and emotionally abusive to their children.
It's only imaginable for, to see or feel that kind of impact, because you're lining them up now is making it more real, what impact or effects these things have. But how can we begin to change the trend, really? Because the impact on the society, every day we hear of people having issues in marriages. If you have issues in the marriage, of course, that is what transcends to the society. That's what affects politics. That's what affects economy. That's what affects the law, crime, and all of that. So how do we begin to change this?
First of all, I think we should be our brother's keeper. Whatever happened to those days where people used to, speak up for other people? Right now, I went to talk about this in a studio, a radio station, and people said they were aware that it was a lot. They had a plethora of cases, but that they were not going to say, because it's not their business, and they could, because of the people involved, they would not want to talk about it so they don't get into trouble. And I don't think it's a good trend. Let's be there for one another. You could just report, remain anonymous, but ensure that that person is safe, because the child or whoever it is needs help. And then let's advocate, let's go out to talk with pastors, the imams, because from the Christian point of view, it's wrong. From the Islamic point of view, it's wrong. Everywhere, every religion abhors, even culturally, So let's begin to talk about this. Let's tell them that it's not just a taboo culturally. There are penalties involved. So let people see that these things are wrong, and then let's reorientate their mindsets, because right now they have a distorted mindset, because that will explain why a man will lust after their daughters, or their child. So let's change their mindsets. At the level of the government, women should be empowered. I've said before that some of the women know that these things happen, but because they are not empowered economically, they can't do anything. And it's safe to say that there are safe places for children, even women now, thanks to proactive government. And I think Lagos State deserves an applaud for that, because they are doing well to provide shelters for these vulnerable people. Well, they still need to do more, so that the children or parents, whoever is involved, will leave that unsafe place while the perpetrator is being, prosecuted and, and handled accordingly. But in the interim, that's the child should, or whoever the victim is, should not be in the same
space
with the.
How does really, because you mentioned religion earlier on, either the pastors and imams and all of that, if a case like this is reported to them, they tend to see how they can counsel them, confess your sins and then you're forgiven, so go and sin no more. That's kind of
religiosity.
Yeah. How does that compound the situation? Because if it has happened and the person goes and then prays to God, and then you are okay, your sins are forgiven, and then you go back and do it again, it will be that, I won't, and then it continues in the name of, don't do it again, you're forgiven by God and all of that, instead of being punished.
Yes.
How does religion compound the situation here?
Yes, I think it really does, because a lot of things that should be treated professionally are handled in spiritual ways. And this is not a wrong thing, but there should be a holistic measure. So if I'm praying for the person to be delivered, I should also know that, especially the victim, I should know that they need professional assistance or help. And then if the perpetrator is a minor, the person also needs help, because there's something that would have happened along the line that would have made the person that's I don't for the choice of lack of the word to use now, that will make the person lower their inhibition to do that. And that it takes a lot to abuse a child or abuse someone, or be involved in such a relationship. So the person needs more than spiritual help. The person needs more than deliverance. Person needs, or all of them need, even the family as a whole, because the dynamics of the family would have been altered. So they need that professional help. And even if the perpetrator is also going to be prosecuted, they also need professional help. So I think that in Africa, a lot of things are hidden under the umbrella of church, mosque, and all that. Oh, my religion, or even the traditional beliefs. Oh, this is it. It's an Obanje thing. Is this? Is that? It will. By the time I flog or do some
rituals, or whatever the thing is, it goes
libations,
away.
pour libations. The person gets better. No, the person doesn't get better. There must be professional help.
Now, there was something you talked about earlier on, as making reference to the way we used to live before, but now where people are becoming more individualistic and a little, everybody's on its own now, because the other issue, the other person is none of my business. Remember the days where life used to be more communal,
And it was fun.
You know, a child is not taken care of by just the mom and dad.
Or the
It's
community.
the entire community, and everybody knows who the next person. In fact, if you don't hear from your neighbor for some time, you go check on them. How are you all doing, and all of that. But now, you check on the other neighbor. They're asking you, "What's your business?" How is this not helping the situation?
It's not in every facet of life. Like, I recently watched a comedy, and a mother was going to flog. Oh, not. I mean, I saw it. I listened to it on the radio, and I saw it in a comedy. A mother was going to flog the principal for for correcting her child. I mean, those things. I know that people go overboard, but the teachers want the best for your child. The person correcting you, your child, wants the best for them. You know, so whoever put this in our minds that the person correcting your child is evil, I don't know. I think we should go past that, because it's not helping us. It's making people mind their business a great deal. And when people don't talk and don't speak up because they don't want to
be
roped in. Yes. So I think we should do our best to, like I'm talking now, let's stop it. Let's be there for one another. Let's go back to that way of living. I think it was better.
But I wonder how we're going to go back to that living when everybody is looking forward to, oh, I want to relocate, I want to travel abroad, I want to,
And even when you're here, you're suspicious of the next person.
Yeah, fine. So how do we go back to that? Because that life was a life of innocence to a great extent, and honesty and genuineness, where you know what this man or this woman said is actually what they think, to a great extent, and all of that. It's all right. We have to leave it here now. Dr. Nimi Ekere, thank you so much for your time on the program this morning.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I had a nice time.
Great. And I had a great time with you too. Thank you.